Hi guys and welcome. Today we're going to make these beautiful little pocket tucks just using a piece of paper. It's how we fold it to get two of these out of one page. We'll also be using a little bit of book page. You could make these from book page if you didn't have any grid paper. I'm actually going to use this piece of grid paper to do today's project, so I'll just pop these aside. I've just put a scrap bit of coffee dyed paper in there for extra journaling. You could put a tag in there, a little notepad. They can be another pocket when you glue it in. You can have a side pocket like that or a top pocket. You can just paper clip them into your journal, however you want to use them. But they're a great way to have readily made in your stash like that. So I'm just going to fold this over. This is not quite an A4 and it's not an A5. It's out of a grid book. It's 9 3/4 by 7.5. And I'm going to fold the first one over roughly about 1 3/4. So this first crease on the outside will form the outside of your tuck, so it'll be nice and sturdy because it'll be double thickness, and then we just fold it again using our bone folder just to get a nice crisp crease. So that's going to be your pocket, and this will be your back piece. Then I'm going to lift that up. I will glue that one down. I'm going to use glue stick for that. Glue stick covers a bigger area quicker. So it's only the first flap we're putting down like that. Getting the glue off that because that piece was a scrap. It's had a tear in it. And then when we go over, we'll be cutting this in half because we want two pockets, but then we'll be just gluing the tops of it. So I'm just going to mark that in half. I think it was just under, yeah, so it's just under 5. And just grab my trimmer. You can of course cut it in half before you start. I find it easier to do the fold all in one piece, and it doesn't really matter if they're not quite the same size, but we can cut a little bit off that anyway. They're not going to be stacked on top of each other. They're two completely separate pieces. Now before we glue that down, we want to ink it, and then I put a piece of book page down here just so we've got a double layer. Just makes that background a little bit more sturdy. I'll just grab some scrap pieces that I've got off to the side here. It's quite a thick book page that I'm using. And I might make that line a little bit more straight because I'm going to have it in that way. But I'm going to ink before I do that. Now the ink I'm using is the Distress Oxide, and it's walnut stain. It's one of my favourites. I will ink the edge of that once we have the book page down. So it's just easier to ink things before you glue them down. You can still ink them after the fact, but I think you get a better look if you ink it first. Up to you whether you want to do the back like I'm doing. You may not have decided whether you're going to actually glue it into your journal or leave it as a freestanding piece and just paper clip it in. So up to you whether you want to ink it now or ink it later when you decide. So the book page, we're just going to put in, I actually like the majority of the writing. Don't mind it's going to have a border top and bottom. That's okay. And I'm going to cover the whole back panel with it. Now if you don't have book page, you can use anything you like. You can use plain paper. You could use another piece of grid paper. Because the majority of it's going to be covered up anyway with whatever you decide to put in the pocket. So we'll do the second one. This is also good for a mass make, so to sit down, and you don't have to decorate them. You could just leave them as is when we cut this back book page down to size, and just have them in your stash ready to decorate when you decide on what theme your journal is. For today's exercise though, we will decorate them. And then I'm just going to turn it over, and then I'll just cut that book page to the same size as our back panel. And I'm going to ink it. And cut this one down. So you can see it's quite a quick little project. Great one for mass making. You can have a stash of these in your supplies ready to go, so when you're putting a journal together, you've got some great little pockets like this. You don't even have to glue that down until you go to use it. Just quickly ink it. And now we're going to glue, so we glue top and bottom on this side, and I'll use the art glitter glue for that. So glue top and bottom so we've got our pocket. Okay, so now we want to decorate them. So you can put anything you like on these. I had a bit of a mass make the other day of just doing some cluster bases, working with my strip scraps, and I'll show them to you. I just put them off to the side. So I just use scraps of everything, you know, coffee dyed paper, some scrapbook paper, just some strips of cardstock. I don't have a sewing machine at the moment. It's packed away in storage, so I've used a stamp to get that effect of stitching on there. So as you can see, it's just torn scraps. That's the edge part of the book page. So pull out your scraps, tear them into strips, and then just layer. And I've just done like three pieces on each, and then I've stamped on the top one or the middle one just with some stitching. So that's what we're going to be working with today, is these ones. So we want to find one that goes down, and we're going to put a strip of book page so it marries up width over here as well. So I quite like that one. So I've used some book page on that one as well. Which I quite like that one. So they're the two I will pick, although I do like that one as well. I'll leave him out for the time being, and we'll have a look. So another great way to use your scraps up, and another great way to have these on hand as bases, and then you can just put on top what you want to put on top for your focal point. So I'm just going to tear a strip of book page, which will go down as a base. You can choose how long or wide you want it. If you didn't want to use book page, you could do some background stamping. So I'm having it show out one side like that, and then the other one same with that, just a strip. And I'm going to have it showing out the other side because we've already got sort of like a book page on there. So like that. So it forms like a little bit of a collage, if you can see what I mean. So relaxing just to sit down with your scraps and put some cluster bases together like this. And I've already, like this, they've stayed on my desk for a couple of days, and I've already used them about 3 times. So I'm sort of thinking that maybe I should make some more. If I do, guys, I will do a separate video, and it might be another one of my 100-day videos just to show you how I put them together. But just working in 3s, lots of 3s. Just use that for a glue page. And I've done my book pages 2 different ways, so I want to make sure that my background strip here is the same way around as what I've glued down over this side. You don't have to, but that's just the way I like it. It's like that the book page is coming through here somehow. And then the top I'm going to glue down with the art glitter glue. Lovely, so that's one done, and we'll put a focal on there in a moment. And then the same with this one, we want it to face the same way. And then the cluster will do our art glitter glue. Like that, and now we want to get our focal. I've made these ones bigger than the 2 that I've got there, which is great because that way you're going to have different size varieties. Okay, so we want to have a look at some focals. So on this one I did it was like a faux button, square button on the back with a flower, this one here, 2 butterflies, and I've put glossy accents on them. And I've pulled out today, when I find what I did with them, here. So I've already pulled out some ephemera and put glossy accents on top, which I will glue down. I do want to do one with a bird and maybe one with a butterfly or a mushroom. I'll probably need a bigger mushroom for that one. Let me put maybe that bird on there. Maybe I might do 2 birds. I really like the colours in this one. So I'm going to glue them down. They're a little bit folded up from when the glossy accents dried, which you'll get that unless you put another thickness of layer behind there, like in the way of cardstock. But we'll be able to glue this down, and we may even put like a label there as well. Just hold it down. It doesn't take long for the art glitter to dry. And then this one here, really love birds. I need to do more with birds and mushrooms. I love. I need to do more with them. And then I'm going to grab some labels. So I do have a date one here, maybe. Let me grab my label book. Now we've got our focal point being the bird, so we don't sort of want to take it too much away from the bird. And we can layer some labels together. And maybe a coloured one underneath. Maybe not. So sometimes a little bit of trial and error with what you put there. That's better. Once I ink it, it will stand out a little bit more. And this one over here, maybe a blue or a green one. Yeah, so maybe just a little one like that. Maybe we'll swap that one out. So sometimes it can be a little bit of trial and error. Take the red away. Perfect. So as you can see, sometimes, and it's great to have them, I made this little label book, have everything sort of out on a page like that rather than rummaging through a container. And it's easier to sort of try it, change it, have a look at another look at it, just going to ink the edges. Inking the edges also gets rid of that raw white edge if you haven't cut something right to the line. Now let's glue them down. Make sure they're straight, or as straight as you can get them. And let's have a look at putting something in our pocket. So I've got more of these scrap pieces. You know, we could put a few together and make them into a little booklet, but or we could fold up a piece of coffee dyed paper. We could make a little tag to go in there. We can have like a, if I don't go too big there, we could have like a journaling card. I'll link the rest of that later, but you can tuck it that way, you can tuck it that way. We can even put a tab on there. You can tuck it that way. You can turn it into a little book, put some coffee dyed paper in there and have a little booklet, but lots of room to craft on. Like I said, I made these ones a little bit wider. Here's the other two. You will see the difference. There I just put a scrap of cardstock on the end, which I actually might do on these. It just reinforces if we're tucking it under, because even though these are two pieces of paper, it's still flimsy if you're tucking something in there. So it is entirely up to you, but I will grab some scrap here. We might go green on that one, or maybe green on that one. Yeah, we'll go green on that one. What else have I got here? No, I don't really like that. I get this beautiful mustard colour. Yep, so we might do that. Oh, that one goes that. No, too pale. All right, so we'll do that. So just cut a strip. You can decide how wide you want it. It's purely decoration. I'll just make sure that's straight first of all. So I'll cut a piece off. That one, and then the same with the green. And then we will glue them down the side here. It also defines, you know, where your pocket is. So if you're going to have it as another pocket in your journal, down there, but it reinforces the edge for you as well. And then this one here. Plus it colour coordinates with your focal point. If you didn't have any coloured cardstock in your scraps, then you could do some stamping on something. And then I'm just going to give it a bit of an ink. Didn't quite go to the top of that one, just angled it off there. And ink that one just to get rid of those white edges. But there you go, guys. Beautiful little one-page pockets. Good way to use up your scraps. A little bit of collaging. Make some of those cluster bases. You won't regret it having those in your stash. And there's some small ones. You can make that as long as you like. But there you go, guys. Nice simple little project to kick off my 100-day challenge, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.